Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Meredith and today I am doing a collab video for the historical romance readathon. Is that what it's called? The romance readathon? I don't know. I'm participating in a readathon that's all about historical romances and we're doing a little collab. So I thought I would do it, and this collab is your top 10 historical romances. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that anyone could participate in this. Awkward if you couldn't, and I'm just like self-inserting myself into this thing I'm not included in. It's like I feel like I've just maybe crashed a party. I hope I haven't. I'm pretty sure this was open to anyone who wanted to participate. If not, this is awkward. But I'll link all the information down below for this readathon. I'm having so much fun with it. It's one of the most creative readathons I've participated in a while. And I'm on Team Blue Stocking, so hopefully we smash it. I feel like Blue Stockings should read a readathon, but I don't know, those pesky wallflowers, they're always up to something, you know? So yes, we're just gonna go through my top 10 historical romances. Now, I love historical romance. I've read quite a few, and so I don't know where I was going with that. I thought I was going to do like a inspirational intro to my journey with it, but no one gives a crap. They're just here to know what the books are. So let's just get straight into it. These are kind of in an order. I'm also like terrified I've forgotten something. I just went to my historical romance shelf on Goodreads and literally my #1 book wasn't even on there. So I'm like terrified there's other gems on there that I can't remember, that I haven't for some reason put under that bookshelf on Goodreads. So yeah, take this with a grain of salt. There might be something out there that I love more than these, except for the #1 because I know what my #1 is. But anyway, these are in kind of an order. So at number 10 we have That Could Be Enough by Alyssa Cole. I love sapphic historical romances and there are just not enough. There's not enough in general queer historical romance or historical romance by POC authors. There's definitely more coming out now, but I feel like, you know, a lot of the backlog of this genre is very white and straight, which is a shame. I feel like it's definitely behind in terms of romance, but it's getting there. But anyway, That Could Be Enough is one of my favorites. I would consider this a novella. So this is about two women that kind of end up working together, and one is sort of very reluctant to love. She doesn't really want to open up to love, and the other one's sort of more headstrong and determined. They have this very like angsty kind of slow burn for a novella, and I just remember there were these beautiful like letters in this that were so angsty and full of longing and just like beautiful and pure. I don't know, there's nothing like sapphic historical longing, you know, there's just something about it that hits and I love it. And this one definitely had so much of that like longing, but it was so like beautiful. Like I just remember reading the letters and like wanting to cry. I'm a heartless bitch, so I didn't cry, but I wanted to. So yeah, if you're looking for some sapphic historical romance, this is a great one to add to your TBR. The next one I have here is The Duke of Deception by Darcy Burke. I have read a lot of books in this series and this one was definitely my favorite from memory, but I also did really like, I think it was #4. That one also stands out, but I really did like this one. This is a series kind of about a bunch of like, I guess, wallflowers and the untouchable men in society that they end up with, because of course. We follow Aquila. She's the kind of woman that's just accepting spinsterhood. She doesn't expect to ever get married. She doesn't really want to. She believes that she's plain and nobody likes her. And so she's kind of accepted that future. And from memory, she's had like really bad experiences with men as well. And so she's just like sworn off them in a way. The Earl of Sutton, called Edward. I feel like that's a terrible name, but it's fine. I obviously got over it. He is known as the Duke of Deception because he just like gets around. He's a bit of a rake and he is mysterious and people believe he's lying a lot. And he has this secret and we sort of start to learn what that is and why he's reluctant to reach out to people. And I just remember it was like a found family, a very like beautiful, heartwarming story. This does have disability representation. It's not own voices. And I read this quite a few years ago when I was not a very critical reader, so I cannot speak on that rep. But yeah, it was just this like beautiful, from memory, found family story of these two people coming together that were like reluctant at first and just build this like beautiful relationship together. And it's built on so much like trust and just like feel good scenes. So if you like sort of soft, heartwarming, wholesome romances, I think you should give this one a try. And I really, really enjoyed it. The next one I have here is a Christmas novella, which is kind of random, but A Match Made in Mistletoe by Anna Campbell slaps. Oh my God, does this slap. I want to read it every Christmas. I didn't get to it last year and I was so disappointed with myself because it's like a novella. It's like, come on, Meredith. But this was my jam. This was my jam.
Ooh, this is my jam. This is my, turn that song off. This is my jam.
This is about Serena, and Serena knows these like two boys, right? And she likes the really well-behaved one, and then there's like a naughty, annoying one that she hates. And so she believes if she puts mistletoe under her pillow, it will bring good luck and she will then kiss the guy that she likes. But while she sleeps that night with the mistletoe under her pillow, she has a dream about kissing Paul. And Paul is the naughty boy. Who would have thought she'd end up with him? And so it's just like her starting to like fall for him because of this like dream she had, even though she hates him. And it's like, oh, gave me the butterflies, you know? It was delightful. So it's a really good little novella to read around Christmas time. I mean, you can read any time, but I love reading Christmas romance around Christmas time. So yeah, this one's definitely a good one to add to your list. I had the butterflies hardcore for this. This was my shit. Okay, now I'm really showing what a basic bitch I am with this next one, but it's a Bridgerton book. I was like, can I make this list without having a Bridgerton book? And I cannot. And my Bridgerton book comes in at number 6. So I'm very basic, I apologize. It's a well-known fact around here. We go with it, okay? So my pick is When He Was Wicked. That is definitely my favorite of the series. I really like On the Way to the Wedding and Anthony and Kate's book. Why can't I think what it is? You all know what it is because it's got a season in the show. When He Was Wicked was my favorite. If you do not know, that is Francesca's book, and she's like not even really in the show because she's like moved away. So during the first few books, she has moved away and gotten married. And her story takes place after her husband has passed away. Now, she does not know this, but her husband's best friend has been pining for her for years. He loves her. I mean, loves her. Bless his little cotton socks. What's his name again? Michael. Oh my God, Michael. I love Michael. So he's just like in love with her, and then his best friend marries her and he's just like pining for her, miserable over this. And then his friend dies, which is sad for some people, not for me as a reader of this book. And it's just about their romance. She goes back home and he comes with her and he helps her heal and they fall in love, and it's just everything. It was so good. I just remember being in the car with Liam like screaming while listening to this in my headphone, and he was just like, bitch, are you okay? And I'm like, no. I'm not okay. And I was like contemplating tattooing like the name Michael on my forehead, like Post Malone style. It was a moment. It was a moment. But that was actually number 7. I said it was number 6. I promise I'm smart. So at number 6, we have A Lady for a Duke. You've probably heard of this one. I feel like it is sort of making the rounds as it deserves. It should be talked about more than it is. This is a queer historical romance. It has a trans main character, which is amazing. Like, we need more of that. We need more of that in all genres, but especially this genre. So we have Viola and Gracewood. So Viola was best friends with Gracewood. They both fought in the war, and then Viola fakes her death, and then she's able to come back out into society as Viola, who is her true self. And, you know, she kind of like feels bad that people think that she's dead, but she knows that they wouldn't accept her. And honestly, I respect her so much for putting herself first. What an amazing person. Anyway, someone finds out who she is, which is her old friend Gracewood's sister. And she's like, look, Gracewood is miserable. He's really struggling with like PTSD after the war, and he really needs his best friend. And Viola's like, bro, what? So she comes back in hopes to help him. It's beautiful. I've heard good reviews from trans people, so I think it's getting good reception. I've heard a lot of mixed things about it now coming out, but I really liked it. I didn't give it 5 stars just because I feel like it focused a lot on like other characters and drama. It felt more like a period drama at times rather than a romance, and I just wanted to read about the main characters, you know what I mean? I was like, I don't care about this child. Okay, this child can fuck off. But it's a really beautiful story of healing, friendship, you know, the importance of like friendship in romance, and it's just beautiful. It really pulls on the heartstrings. At number 5, we have Vivid by Beverly Jenkins, who I have read so many historical romances from. She's probably the historical romance I've read the most from. I love her books. They're very different from like the typical historical romance. I think they've got a lot of history, and just the pacing and the way the stories are structured is a little bit different. So I think they can be a little bit hard to get into, and they're not for everyone, but I personally really enjoy them. They are a bit insta-lovey, so I always tend to really love the starts, and then the romance kind of peters out for me and they drag a little bit. And she does structure her romances pretty much always the same, but I feel like Vivid worked the best for me out of all her books. I just feel like this one was the least insta-lovey, and I feel like there was a lot more push and pull and that angst going on from memory. I did read this a little while ago again. So this one's about Vivid and Nate. So Vivid comes to this like small town as a doctor, and I believe he's the mayor. Yeah, he's the mayor, and he thinks that she's going to be a male doctor. And when she gets there, he's like, who the hell are you? And she's like, I'm the doctor. And he's like, bro, no. And she's like, bro, yes. That's the thing about Beverly Jenkins books. They are so feminist. Her female main characters are so empowering, so courageous and inspiring. And so she's like, I'm the friggin' doctor and I've come here to work. And so they definitely do not hit it off at the start. And there's definitely this like heated attraction and hatred going on between them. And he, you know, learns his ways and grovels, and she puts him in his place, and she is a queen. And it's just delightful, and I really want to reread it now I'm talking about it. But yeah, I love her books. I always highly recommend them. I don't know whether she's an author to start with in this genre, but she's definitely someone that you should try, because I don't know, her books to me are just on a whole other level. And I just wish that she would write less insta-love. I think if she wasn't as insta-lovey, she would be like my favorite. The insta-love kind of kills me a little bit because I hate insta-love. Next, we have a romance book that I actually read really recently, and that was Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare. This is the first book in her Castles Ever After series. This is a kind of Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I'm a sucker for, so I did go in thinking I was going to like this. So it's about this woman who inherits this castle, and so she goes to the castle to inherit it, and there's a man living in it that is disheveled and scary and angry, and she kind of wants nothing to do with him. And he's like, this is my castle. And she's like, no, I think you're fine, it's mine. And he's like, it's mine. And so they end up having to both live there as they try to figure out whose castle it is. And he actually is blind, and so it does have blind rep. I cannot speak on whether that is good or not. I just loved how like he was just like a brute at the start, and she was just like so sweet, and she's just like like in the opening scene when he's like really angry, she's like looking at his boots and she's like, they're nice boots, and then she like faints. And it's like so cute. And yeah, they're very silly and cute together, and they're just like adorable dogs in a way. But yeah, I had the butterflies during this one. I was all in. I was supporting them 100%. And I really enjoyed it. Oof, this next one is rough. This next one, check those content warnings. Be prepared for some darker historical romance. This is a lot grittier than the normal in the genre, and that is The Highwaymen. This one's pretty popular, so you've probably heard of it. Again, I am a basic bitch, okay? This one is, again, dark, so check those content warnings. This one's about Dorian and Farah. Now, they grew up together in an orphanage, and they were like childhood sweethearts. Like, they had this like wedding that the other kids in the orphanage all, you know, were there for, and they put together. So even though they weren't legally married and they were obviously children, they like believed that that was what was happening. And then he ends up being taken away and goes to prison, and they never see each other again. She is told that he has died, and so she now goes by his name, and as a widow, even though they technically never legally got married, she still believes that they did. And so she, you know, says she's a widow and goes by his name. And then she ends up being kidnapped by this man called Dorian Blackwell. And she's like, who the fuck's this man? Because he went by a different name. Sorry, that was probably a little bit confusing. He used to go by a different name. He now goes as Dorian. And so she doesn't know who he is. We all know who he is. And yeah, it's just this really sad, dark romance, and it's good. It hooks you, and you are there for the tension. There's so much angst, and it, like, you know how you read a sad, angsty romance and you're like, I feel a little bit guilty for enjoying this because these characters are miserable, but I love it. And so I really enjoyed this like darker, grittier, sadder romance. I tend to read a lot of like fluffy romance, especially in this genre. So I really appreciated how different this one was. I don't know. I've never read a book like this, I feel like, where you just feel like these people were meant to be together. Like they were put onto this earth to be together. And I don't even like that shit. Like, I hate fated mates, but these two are fated mates. You know what I mean? I'm just like, they were always meant to be together. Anyway, all the feels. There's definitely a lot of feels to go with that book, but I don't know. It's just on a league of its own, you know? It's just amazing. Like, it just stands out so heavily, and I could see it being a movie. It's a really, really intense but amazing story. Then number 2, I have A Lady's Desire. This is another novella, and it's obviously, as you can see, another sapphic one. And this one is like friends to lovers. So there were these 2 girls, what were their names? Winifred and Sarah. And so Winifred and Sarah were best friends growing up, and they started to kind of have feelings for each other. And then one of them ends up marrying the other's cousin, and they just completely lose contact. There's a lot of hurt feelings between the 2, and their relationship is ruined. They don't talk, and it's been quite a few years. The cousin dies. Another book where it's like, I should be sad this man died, but I'm not. And so she comes back to the family to mourn, and sparks fly. Sparks fly. Sometimes Miranda Cosgrove just takes over my body, I swear. Do you ever feel like Miranda Cosgrove just like possesses you at times? I don't know. The spirit of Miranda is in all of us. Sparks fly. The sparks definitely fly between the 2, and it is intense. The longing in this book, the pining for over years, and even when they were friends but they couldn't be together, and then they're like, oh, love is too strong. It's just, it's grand, it's beautiful. It's a novella, so it's like short and spicy, and it's just delightful. I really, really loved it. And I'm so happy it's number 2 because it just deserves a spot. I loved it. I need to reread it. It just gave me all the feels. And I love when novellas are good like this because it's so quick and easy, and you get all the feels in one go, and there's no crap that you have to get through to get there. But you do sometimes wish there was more. But this one, I was happy. I was like, I got everything I needed out of this, and I am very happy. Now on to number 1, which I actually own. This is the one I actually own, which is very exciting. I was not expecting to love this one as much as I did. I've read a lot by this author, and at the time when I read this, I'd never given one 5 stars. A lot of them were 3s, and I was like, this author's fine. But like, their books don't, you know, do it for me. None of them had given me butterflies. None were like favorites at this time. And I read this book, and I am telling you, I had not experienced such intense butterfly feelings reading a romance in so long. I was just completely captured by this book. I couldn't go and do other things. I needed to just lay on my bed and listen to this book. And I was just like overcome with emotion. It was such a good experience. I really need to reread this book. I just loved it. So the book is, drumroll, Any Duchess Will Do by Tessa Dare. Ooh. So as you know, obviously I now have loved another Tessa Dare, but at this time I hadn't, and I was like, she's just kind of vanilla for me. But this book slaps. Oh my god, does this book slap. There is a scene on a like table in this book. My god. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, it was so good. So this follows Griffin and Pauline. Oh, bless. I love them. Oh my gosh. So Griffin is a bit older than Pauline, so it's got a little bit of an age gap. And he is a duke, and he just is he's kind of a slob. Like, he doesn't really care about his position. He doesn't care about getting married. He doesn't care about having an heir. He just like doesn't really want anything to do with it. And his mother is delightful, but she's also annoying and nosy and butting in because she's like, I want an heir. You need an heir. I want a grandchild. And so she is always butting in, introducing women to him, and he's like, I want nothing to do with these people. I want nothing to do with you. And so his mother like kidnaps him and takes him to Spindle Cove, which is where this series is set, where like it's a town for women that don't really fit into society to like be themselves and be safe. And so she takes him there and she's like, just pick a woman. I don't care which woman. Just pick a woman. I'll make her into a lady. Just please, for the love of God. And so he's like, you know what? My mother's an annoying pain in the ass. I need to teach her a lesson. So he picks Pauline, and Pauline is like the tavern worker. So she is, you know, not a lady of society. She is working class, which obviously in this time period is a travesty. So you do have a class difference in this. And he's like, I pick her. And Pauline's like, what? So Griffin's like to Pauline, look, if you come with me and play up hardcore, like absolutely make this task impossible for my mother, I will give you a bunch of money. And Pauline's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take the money. Her sister has a disability. Again, I don't know what the rep is like in this. I can't speak for if it's good or not. She really wants to kind of get her own place so that she can bring her sister with her, because her father is like threatening to basically take her to what is a horrible place where she will be taken care of, but we all know she'll be treated terribly. And so she doesn't want her sister to go there. And so she wants the money so that she can build a life for her and her sister. And so her sister can be safe. And so she's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll play up. And so she comes back with them and they all fall in love. It's like this beautiful found family, but also they fall in love. And like Pauline falls in love with the mom and the mom falls in love with Pauline, and then these two fall in love, and it's just this found family, but it's also steamy as shit. Not with the mum. The mum's not involved in that. The mum's separate from that. I tell you, it is good. I loved this. And I don't even recommend this necessarily because I don't know if it'll work for other people, but it worked for me so well that it's, yeah, my favorite easily historical romance. One of my favorite romances of all time. And I had such a visceral reaction to it. I had all the butterflies. I was like, why can I not get this feeling more often? Why am I such a picky bitch? But yeah, I love this book. I love these characters. Griffin is like on another level, you know? And that is going to do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed. Again, I will link below the readathon information and all the other people that did this collab. I will link their channels so you can go check out their videos. And yeah, I hope you really enjoyed, and I hope you'll join the readathon. I hope you'll join Team Blue Stocking, and I hope you'll just have, what am I doing? Why am I getting all sentimental here? I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna go now. Oh yeah, do the whole like, comment, subscribe thing if you want. Probably don't want to, but if you do, here's a little reminder. Okay, bye!